We have to talk about the future of Mecha Break now that the open beta has been going on for over 3 weeks and will probably end in 1 to 2 weeks after the big tournament they're having soon. It is time to talk what's next for the game and what has to change. Now, you already know my thinking about the bot situation and the climbing in ranks. If you want to know more about that, please check out the last video I made. So let's talk about some of the things we haven't really covered yet. And I think one of the main issues the game has right now is the unlocking of new strikers and the economy behind it. Because the game is unfortunately doing what a lot of free-to-play games are doing. They give you a lot of quests and lock-in rewards, which makes it look like you are getting a lot of credits to unlock the strikers you need, till you then realize just after a few days that everything comes down to a halt and you are not making enough points at all, and you might be able to unlock 2 to 3 strikers at best if you are lucky, and if you want to go for one of the more expensive one, you will barely get one together, leaving alone the very expensive ones. And yes, that is a problem for balance. I mean, we can see it already in the open beta, right? Like, one of the strongest striker in the game, Tricera, is really easy to obtain. Basically, you can get Tricera for free at the beginning, or even if you choose Falcon, Tricera is still very easy to unlock. And then, if you want to get some of the counters, like actual hard counters to Tricera, you have to spend so much more time and credits to gain that stuff. And the only reason why it kind of works, but it's still very slow, is because they gave us a lot of free resources. Now, when that is gone, it's clear that it will end with you have to farm for weeks and months, or, well, you have to spend money. And again, that is a balance problem. In the end, that will damage the balance. And people who are arguing, but how are they supposed to make money? Well, how every free to play game is making money nowadays through skins. Like, they have colors they can ask people money for. They have those special pilots slash skins they would definitely ask money for. They have the hangar where they could add stuff over time which you could just buy with money, and so on and so forth. Like, there are tons of ways on how to capitalize from a free-to-play game, and there are so many games out there who have already shown how it's been done. But what is with the idea to just give us all the strikers for free? I would love to see that. That would be the best solution. But because they have those animations they seem to be really proud of when it comes to unlocking the strikers, I'm not sure if they can jump over their own shadow and basically remove that from the game and you have just all strikers unlocked. So if they don't want to do that, which it looks like it, they could remedy this with just giving us more resources much faster. Because as I said, like, even the quests and stuff on how we are gaining resources are weeklies. They're not even dailies, they're weeklies, and then they're giving us like 3,000 coins, and we need 45 or 60,000 coins for the more expensive ones. It's laughable. It's absolutely laughable what you are making. And again, if you wouldn't have the free resources in the open beta, most people would have maybe 1 or 2 strikers, right? So yeah, it's not okay how it works right now. But that's a number game, and they can fix that relatively easy if they want to. Again, this is changing basically the numbers in the spreadsheet, and it's not that big of a deal. The next thing, though, we are talking about is a much bigger deal, and that is the content we got after 6 months. Now we have Mashmac, and Mashmac, I have to admit, I'm not an extraction shooter player. I don't care for those type of games. I've tried them, and they are not my playstyle. Like, battle royales are not my playstyle. But I have talked to people who have played Mashmac and who have hundreds or even thousands of hours in other extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov, the new Delta Force, and they basically all came to the same conclusion. This is one of the most dull extraction shooters they have ever played, because there's nothing on the line really, only the things you collect on Mashmac directly, you can also lose in the same round, but you're not taking anything with you, so there's nothing on the line. And even the stuff you find on Mashmac, you can basically save with the rockets you have, and they're not that important. And the map is too big. It's always the same thing, right? You are attacking like some fort, then tons of enemies are coming in, you destroy them, you get their loot, and maybe you meet another player, and there is no real pressure there. There is no real feeling of I could lose a lot here. And that's what makes Escape from Tarkov so interesting, right? There's always something on the line, at least when you are going in with the Merc. And so, yeah, there's just it's a very dull experience, even for the people who have played a lot of extraction shooters in their time, and they would have to do some serious work on that mode before people really care for it. And if the game is supposed to come out very soon, then that would be a time problem. Speaking about time problem, I'm really hoping that the time they invested into the hangar mode was something they had as a free time. You know how development teams are not always working on the same thing, like animators or the art team. They are not really working on the balance of the game, and they have sometimes some slowdown while they're working till the balance team is done, the animation team is done, and so on and so forth. Right? There are different teams who have different workflows. And I'm really hoping that the hangar came together when some of those teams had some significant slowdown, because I have to ask the question here, why? Why does this exist? Nobody is using it beyond the tutorial and the rated T for teen shower scene, which, by the way, you could sell for money. Just saying, there are enough people out there who would pay for that, even though you see less than in any kids show nowadays. Like, what? But nonetheless, like, this hanger thing is the question of why. It's also not really appealing. There's nothing really you can do anything, and you would normally argue that this feature should be implemented into the game when everything else is said and done. Right? If we wouldn't had so many other issues and areas which really need some love, then I would say, yeah, okay, that makes sense that you worked on this fluff thing, but that's not the case, right? There are still enough areas where there needs to be something on. This is why I say I'm hoping that the teams who worked on that just were done with their work, basically, and then they had some extra free time. But if that wasn't the case, oh boy, this is what you spent your time on in the last 6 months. How about some more maps? I know that some strikers are on the way, or how about like fine tuning the modes? Like there are so many things which, as I said, still need work. That I'm not even sure if the game should release soon, because now we are at a threshold. When the beta in August ended last year, a lot of people believed, from what they have seen and how it felt, that the game would release fairly soon. And then it was 6 months of dead silence. Like, just dead air, nothing happened. Then they came back with the open beta. Now we have tons of things where people are like, ooh, this needs work. And we are closer than ever to the actual release date. And they are also starting to ramp up the marketing again. Right? That was also very weird that in August they pumped out a lot of marketing, and that was one of the reasons why people believe that the game is really close, is because of like all the marketing they invested into this, and nothing happened. So I don't think they can do it again. I don't think they can invest a lot of marketing again and then go silent for the next 6 months or so. Like, I truly believe that the game release is imminent, but I also kind of wished it isn't, because it needs more work. I don't know which like client we are playing on, like how close this is to the actual release. Maybe this client is already 3 months old or something like that. I don't know, which would explain why they don't do anything to it. Like when we had the beta in August, they actually did balance changes. Now they don't care, right? So it makes me wonder how old this client actually is. And we will see. But there's lots of work to be done. The release is drawing closer, and they have to figure those things out. Plus the whole bot thing. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I hope you still enjoyed it, even though this was a more critical video on a game I really love, and I will continue to play, I will continue to make content about. But if you still enjoyed it, I would definitely appreciate if you might leave a like. And also, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more Mecha Break in the future, then I would also appreciate if you might consider to subscribe. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I see you next time. Stay safe. Bye bye.